On for several months between the two sides. Good evening. Welcome. I'm John Brown.
And I'm Lou Ann Sorrell. The sheriff says both the mother and the shooter called 911 on each other at least half a dozen times in the past. Let's walk you through what we know so far. Deputies say before the shooting, the neighbor threw something at one of the children. That child then told their mother, and she went back to the neighbor's house. During the confrontation, the neighbor allegedly shot the mother through the front door. Investigators are now trying to figure out if the shooter will face any charges or if this is a case of self-defense. We have live team coverage for you tonight.
Fox 35's Ray Vieta is looking into a similar stand your ground cases. And we start with Fox 35's Dave Puglisi, who is live in Marion County. So, Dave, the victim's family wants the shooter charged in this case.
John, they do, and many people here in the community were calling for justice. They say that they are outraged over all this and believe the shooting was completely unnecessary. Her 3 children were here today as they echoed those calls.
She had no weapon. She posed no imminent threat to anyone.
A.J. Owen's mother pleading for answers after her daughter was shot by her neighbor. Many in the Marion County community echoing those calls.
She needs to be arrested today. She needs to be prosecuted.
Owens was killed Friday when she went to confront a neighbor. Close friends say the 32-year-old wanted to know why her neighbor took her kid's iPad and threw something at them.
Her children ran to my house, banging on the door, asking for us to call the police that their mother was shot. They ran on they knocked on everyone's door.
Owens' neighbor Ashley Remy says that she ran over to perform CPR.
Just hoping that I could revive her, hoping that there was something I could do.
Others in the neighborhood say the 58-year-old shooter has a history of yelling at kids in the neighborhood. They claim she has called the police on kids many times. Marion County deputies have not arrested the 58-year-old as they try to determine if this was a stand your ground case.
It's a bull. Straight bull. Because like I just said, if it was me or an African-American shooting her, we would be in jail right now.
Owen's children are between the ages of 13 and 4 years old. Her oldest son did speak briefly, thanking everybody for coming. There'll be a vigil held for her on Thursday. In Ocala, Dave Puglisi, Fox 35 News.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Man Cave. We are Corey and Ryan, and you're listening to the Much About Nothing podcast, the show where we give expert takes and good-hearted debates. We talk ball and anything and everything else. Today, we talking everything else. If you got something to say, put it in the comments. If you're new to the pod, greetings. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications, smash that bell. If you're already part of the fam, welcome back. Please like, share, and comment. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Corey, let's get it.
Welcome back. I think for all of you in the chat, Tiff, Tawana, Ty, all of y'all being in here, and much of you all that else is up here, but not in the comments, man. Welcome to the show. As we talk, like Hampton said, we're talking about a mother of 4 shot in an altercation involved on an iPad and each other's kids. Man, let's get into this. Starting this thing off, yes. It's a sad situation, totally sad situation, regardless how you look at it, where end you come in from. It's terrible. Every time another person's life is lost, at the end of the day, we have to ask ourselves, could have been avoided? Situation, what went down? What we would have done in that situation? I mean, the ins and outs of the whole entire situation. So, Hamp, to start this thing off, what's your overall thoughts of this?
I'm sick of thoughts and prayers, like I always say. We were going to talk about this last night, but we decided to not be first, but to be right. And so, from the time it takes to, read and gather information, my personal feeling is I have enough information that I've received that I think there should at least be an arrest. What you think?
Nah, I mean, I definitely don't think it's enough information. I know it's enough speculatory information, but at the end of the day, I think I believe if it wasn't, I guess we look at it for entirely different ends. I believe if it was enough information out there, the police would have made their arrest. What the police do not want to do, they do not want to make a case out of something that would not go before the judge and feel like they can win. Because at the end of the day, you have to make sure it's going to stick. You can't just be tossing things out there and don't feel like you got enough evidence to even pursue this thing. But we're on opposite ends of the thing. I mean, you might think
Well, let's talk through it.
people are not arrested because of certain color of their skin. Me, I'm of the belief they're not going to press any charges against a person if they don't feel like they can win the case. Overall, if it comes to the point where they think they can get that lady can be served justice in the situation. If they had enough evidence to pursue it, they will. If they don't, they don't. But right now, we got to wait until the investigation is over and charges are bring forth. I would like to hear the case. At the end of the day, I don't want to just assume that the things that we see on the news, because a lot of things is what they say is speculative. It's stuff that he says, she says stuff. Man, I mean, state news can get fabricated stories all the time. If you would like me to, I can put out a lot of news articles and news statements that have turned out to be false. They put out the information they have in hand. Like if you listen to what they say people have said this or this have been said, but that's all speculatory. You don't know what actually happened. And being in these situations, I know many times what they put out is the stuff that has been heard, but that is not. I mean, come on now, man. This is news. This is news.
Okay, so let's. How about this? Let's start with some of the basic facts, like we discussed. These are
At the
some
end of the day,
basic
we look at facts
indisputable.
different. We
Okay,
look at facts different.
let's look at indisputable facts.
Yeah.
Here goes some indisputable facts.
Mm-hmm.
A person is dead.
Mm-hmm.
That's one fact that we're not going to argue. Correct?
No.
That person was shot. Right? We're not going to argue that, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to argue that that person was without a weapon. We're not going to argue that either.
No.
And we're not going to argue the fact that they weren't shot through a closed door.
Mm-hmm. Not arguing that neither.
All right. So we got a few undisputable facts. A few.
Can you pull me out where the law is broken right now? Can you pull me up the law? Because if you, I spent this time searching throughout the law. It's no law. In fact, if at the end of the day, I got the laws up here. I got them up here, and Kevin already beat me to a couple of them. Because Florida is the stand your ground law. I don't get this thing where y'all got it in your head that a person shot through the door. Like it's a certain threshold that you cannot shoot somebody through the door. If you pull me up that law, when you bring that up, a person shot through the door. Bring up that law where that's unlawful. Show me any statute in any Florida statute that has out there that you cannot shoot a person through a door. Because we're bringing up things that we say are wrong, but this is not a broken law. So at the end of the day, I mean, I looked up the law. I got them up here. You want to put them up later or
And
not?
Kevin, I think Kevin put it in the chat.
Yeah, he put up the stand your ground law. These are the things. And good job, Kevin. You got them up there. But this is the first one. The defendant reasonably believed that the deadly force was necessary to prevent imminent death or great bodily harm to himself or herself or another, or prevent the imminent commission of forcible felony. The second part of the act. The defendant acts under the and according to the circumstances set forth in the section of 776.013 of Florida statutes, which presumes a reasonable belief or as to the necessity of force in the context of defending dwelling or residence or vehicle. Defending dwellings. If you are in an attempt of entering my home, I can stop you. I do not have to wait for you to come in my home. I can stop you. And I don't get what I get if you say she was shot in the back or a situation like that. But if you're trying to get in my house, basically we say, and I say this again, if I'm on my porch and you're coming up my steps to do harm, if I got a right to shoot you, then what you saying? I got to run into my house and wait for you to come through the door? No, I could shoot you. What if it's at the driveway at the post box At the end of the day, it's no threshold. I just can't shoot you in the back because at the end of the day, you're not posing a threat if I shoot you in the back. But if you're coming, and this is stuff that I'm not saying that has happened, because at the end of the day, we don't know. If that lady wasn't coming at her or something like that, or trying to get in the house, if that could be proved, then yeah, that she was wrongfully shot. But that is left up. The only thing you're stating is she was shot through the door as though that is some kind of law that's broken. I'm saying, show me the law where shooting a person through the door is illegal. I don't understand that point. I just don't understand it. We citing that as a law that's broken. Yeah, a person is shot. That's a sad thing. But I know I look at it kind of differently. I say, was that person reasonably shot or that person unreasonably shot? Because if a person about to get raped and they shoot him, you wouldn't be mad at that. You do not know the circumstance.
I
We
know
can
that's
say
not
they
the
are
circumstance.
justified
I know
shooting.
that wasn't the circumstance.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying that. I'm at the end of the day, you're not understanding the point. I'm not saying that's the point. I'm saying there are such things as justified shootings. We don't know whether this shooting was justified. You're automatically looking at it as an unjustified shooting. I'm saying I don't know. If you're going to stand there and say yes, it's already an unjustified shooting, I'm saying present the reasons why. And if the reason is that she shot the person through the door, then show me the law which that is illegal. And I'm saying that I have searched. There is no law. There is no such law. So then you have to tell me what was done illegally. That is in the facts. I'm not saying that it could be come out that facts have things are illegal. I'm saying what fact has been shown that she broke the law. Yeah, that's my problem. I'm saying it's not out there yet. We have to wait until more information comes out.
Okay, so right now we're talking the legalities of it, right? It's on legality. That's what you want to talk about, legalities.
What else there is there to discuss?
Okay, well, let's discuss this. Let's discuss this. So, on occasion, six to be exact, they have called the police on each other,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So we do know that there is a course of action that they have been taking against one
Mm-hmm.
another
Mm-hmm.
for quite some time.
Yeah.
So in this particular situation, a person that I know, a person that I have called the police on several times, a person that has called the police on me several times.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they in such danger today? And why that same course of action couldn't go on?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I mean by the information. More information. We don't know. We don't know yet. None of that has been released. That's why I say it's rather early in the jump to be making judgments on whether it's right or wrong because we don't know what's different about the day than the other times in call. We don't know. You don't know. But
Okay.
it said I'm not making a standpoint. I'm not standing here saying anything was done wrong. I don't know. I'm comfortable saying it. But if anybody's going to say that this was an unjustified shooting, I'm saying what facts do you have on it? Because I see none yet. And that's all I'm saying. It could very well come out that this was an unjustified shooting. I'm just saying it has not been done yet. At the end of the day, that woman could have came on that porch and did a whole bunch of slew of things that we do not know. Or she could have just came on that porch and that lady gunned her down like a dog. And I hope she's held to the fullest extent of the law. But I'm saying everything I ain't read, you don't know.
Hmm. Okay. So I don't know. I just feel like
Mm.
in a lot of different situations, we all go into the past of that person. But I tell you, every time I've heard like these brutalizations that make the news, I'm always hearing about the character, who they were as a human being. I'm hearing about the background of the situations. None of that matters in this situation, I'm sure.
No, I don't think
It,
none of
does,
that
it
matters.
doesn't matter that the other neighbor said that she has a reputation for hounding these kids. It doesn't matter that eyewitnesses say she hit the kid in the head with a skate. It
Mhm.
doesn't matter that she took the iPad and took it in the house.
Hold on. You said she took the iPad and took it in the house. Can you confirmed that? Has that been corroborated or anything? That's just speculation. That's what I'm saying. You're presenting an assertion as fact. And if we go run that clip back, that clip says that that has been speculation. The clip even said in there the news had not even brought that out as fact. So all of that stuff has remained to be proven. Don't know. That's what I'm saying. That stuff, like to take those things, this person said this person. It could have been that best friend that said that. We don't know the person that said it. What do they stand to gain from it? Any of that. At the end of the day, it's just taking somebody stuff as fact. And I mean, I don't know. I've been involved in so much. I know how people have. I mean, I know these things. A good story, like, you know what I'm saying, like, I was a young kid. I remember my next door neighbor, who's like a grandfather with me, got into it with a guy behind the house. And from the end of the day, I seen two people arguing. One of them pulled their pants down and mooned the other person. But when they got to court, man, it was two sides that did not present the same thing that I saw. Both of them just presented an argument that was going to win them the case. And I mean, to think that's not the way cases go, I mean, you don't know. You just got to go off the evidence that can be proved.
Can we go off of what the sheriff's statement is?
Yeah, what's the sheriff's statement?
Okay, so
what did he say?
We will count that as credible. Right?
Not necessarily, but I mean, we'll see.
Let's go with the sheriff's statement. The sheriff said Owens was shot moments after going to the apartment of her neighbor, who had yelled at Owens' children as they played in a nearby lot. He also said the neighbor, who has not been identified by the police, had thrown a pair of skates that hit one of the children.
He saw this? He said he saw this?
I'm telling you, that's the sheriff's statement. Now we want to question the integrity of.
I'm not questioning the integrity of his statement. He could be saying what is reported. He could be talking about what's reported, whether he saw it or he's telling what's.
He made a statement on TV.
Yeah, man. I don't want to argue.
Okay, all right. So let's finish it. All right. So the deputies responding to a trespassing call at the apartment Friday night found Owens suffering from gunshot wounds. She later died at the hospital. Before the confrontation, this is all the sheriff's words. Before the confrontation, the shooter had been yelling racial slurs at the children.
Can I ask one just honest anybody with a reasonable mind would ask, how did he know what happened before? How do you think he got that information?
The sheriff's office hasn't confirmed that the slurs were that there were slurs uttered or said whether race was a factor in the shooting.
I mean, how would he would have got any of that information? How do you think the sheriff obtained any of that information?
You know what? I love your level of scrutiny.
No, I'm just saying.
Serious.
This is always. Can you answer the question? Can you answer the question? How did he get the information? I'm just asking.
The same way they get the information for every other investigation.
All right, that's all I'm saying. You're saying like
prisons that are filled with people that look like me. The same way they get that information. What you mean?
All right.
No, isn't prison full of people? Like, and the cops don't be there.
No, I'm not. Let's say this woman came out and said that person broke into my house. I'm not taking her word. Of course, I guarantee you right now that lady's defense is going to be the lady tried to break into her house. I'm not taking her at her word. Anybody would say that lie. If I shot a person on my front step, regardless, that's going to be my defense. That's going to be her obvious defense. But that is not truth.
Corey,
you don't know.
I do know this, but what I'm saying is, you will agree there are millions of people in prison right now.
Yes.
Okay. And if with the level of scrutiny you have, most of them shouldn't be there, because the fact of the matter is, how did the cops know that even happened? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you even know? Let's free all the guys.
All I'm saying.
How do we know that even happened? They weren't there.
Can you like understand what I'm saying? That right there is information that has yet to be played out in any situation. We have not matched it up. It's not. It's just you. I think you read stuff and you take it as fact so easy. You take stuff that you read so much as facts, and I'm telling you, and I want to when I get the chance, the next episode that we do on this, what I'm going to do, I'm gonna put out the same jumps where things has been transferred over. We find out that that stuff was lies that was put out in news articles that you would have assumed was true
Mm-hmm.
so many times. I'm just saying you have no at the end of the day until it plays out in court, you don't know. You
Okay.
don't know.
So let's go
That's
with
all I'm saying.
Can we go with Lauren Smith?
Yeah.
She know a little
What?
more than both of us.
Uh-huh.
Lauren Smith lives across the street from where the shooting happened. She was on her porch and saw one of Owen's young sons pacing and yelling, "They shot my mama! They shot my mama!"
Mhm.
She ran toward the house and started chest compressions until a rescue crew arrived. She said
Mhm.
there wasn't an altercation and that Owens did not have a weapon. In quotations, these are her statements. She was angry all the time that the children were playing out there, Smith said. She would say nasty things to them, just nasty. Smith, who is also white, described the neighborhood as a family-friendly neighborhood. Does her statement matter? Probably not.
Yeah. I mean, that's her junk. That's what she said. I don't see no reason why she couldn't say it. But again, this is all I'm saying. I'm I think I remain this way all the time, and I would say this all the time. Until any of these situations play out in court, you don't know. And for people to stand up here, like I think you'll always. Do you assume all these things are true all the time?
Okay.
If somebody came up there and said this and such happened, you just take that information as truth. I don't. I never
Okay.
do and never will.
I'm
And
gonna go a
that's
little bit
just
further here.
yeah.
I'm gonna go back to the sheriff's statement. There's a lot of aggressiveness between both of them,
Yeah.
back and forth. The sheriff said the shooter. The sheriff said that that's what the shooter told the investigators.
Mhm.
She said whether it be banging on each other's doors, banging on walls, threats being made, but at this very moment is when Miss Owens was shot through the door.
You
So
said the shooter statement was what?
the shooter statement, I'm reading verbatim, quote in quotation. There was a lot of aggressiveness from both of them, back and forth. The sheriff said the shooter told the investigators. She said there was a lot of aggressiveness. She said, quote unquote, whether it be banging on doors, banging on the walls, threats being made. And then at that moment is when Miss Owens was shot through the door. That's in quotation, what she said.
Yeah, I mean, mm, I don't know. That could very well be lies too. Maybe no threats were communicated.
Mm.
That lady could have just been coming there trying to get an iPad. At the end of the day, I mean, that woman's words is going to be threats communicated. She felt in fear for her life. That's an obvious statement from her side. She's going to make. I don't see, and I don't see any way at the end of the day, anything that's put out there from her side, I'm pretty sure it's gonna go along the same line that she was in fear for her life. That lady tried to come and enter her dwelling, and she felt the only option was to kill that lady, and that could very well be a lie. Nobody knows that. At the end of the day, we got to wait until it play out in court to see how the eyewitnesses, what they say was said, and how those stories match up, and all those things. Got to play out. Got to see.
Okay. Now, I would like for us to get away from the legality of it. All
I
right.
think the legality, if you want to talk about like subjective lenses, like the way I look at it, whether it's right or wrong, I don't know because the legality plays a big part in whether I think it's right or wrong, whether the shooting was justified. Do I think a person should have the right to defend themselves in a situation like that? That's the question. Did the lady defend herself? So we're gonna
Kevin
play
asked.
scenarios.
Kevin asked a question in this situation: did they arrest the other old man who shot the kid? They brought up. Actually,
I think
yeah,
he has been. I think he has been arrested. Yeah,
he did.
they put
He was
charges on him. Yeah.
yeah. They arrested him. He stayed.
Hmm.
He stayed in jail for I think it was like 8 hours.
Hmm.
The magistrate gave him bond, and he's at home.
Yeah.
And to
Out on
me,
bond.
and to me, at least they
I
tried.
think we did an episode on that though.
We did.
I ain't no tried. It ain't been. Got to see how it play out in court, man.
What I'm saying is the first step of justice. The first step of justice is acknowledging that a wrong has been done. Now the question
Yeah.
is, was it because there is a wrong here. Whether we want to say something wrong happened. Anytime a human being bleeds to death, something wrong happened. Now, in this situation,
So you are for putting everybody in jail in every single shooting, regardless of the situation.
the same way that gentleman was arrested, met the magistrate, and went home. And I'm gonna tell you, there's a few reasons why. If you allow a person to stay in their house after they shot somebody on the porch, all types of evidence can be tampered with, all types of stuff. As a matter of fact, you ain't even been charged. She ain't even got to live in Florida right now. You know what I'm saying? She ain't got to do none of that. Like none of that. None of it. It's almost as if nothing happened and nothing matters. And we know something happened and we know something matters because a person bled to death on her porch through a closed door with a firearm. Like we know that happened. So, but
Hmm.
again, that's not the part I want to talk about when I say let's get away from the legality of it.
Mm.
This is what I want to talk about. This culture we have of shoot first and this whole stand your ground thing, like it don't feel right. It don't feel right to me. It feels like human beings capable of leaving this atmosphere, going to different planets, should have better solutions other than a person was banging on my door, so I shot him through the door, and we all rallying around. Well, we got to see the details. Like I just feel like human beings. I think we're beyond that. I think we're
Mm.
really beyond that. Like
No.
I mean, I think we're really beyond that. Like the fact of the matter is, we're talking about a closed door in which a bullet went through a closed door and shot another woman through the door. They did not have a weapon, didn't have a lock picking, a lock picking kit. Like this is like, what are we talking about here? We sit here talking about we ain't got the facts, we ain't got the details. I'm
Mm.
talking about the law says I don't have to retreat. I don't have to wait for somebody to hurt. Like they on the other side of the door, man.
Mm.
They on the other side of the door.
I think we just look at it very much differently. At the end of the day, I'm saying there are such things as justified shootings. Whether I know whether a shooting is justified or not, do you say that there's no justified shooting? I could present several scenarios in which you'll say,
I ain't
yes,
saying
that person
no.
can
I
rip.
ain't saying
That's
no.
what. Hold
I
on.
ain't
Let
saying
me finish my statement. Let me finish my statement. I'll let you go on. All I'm saying is, at the end of the day, if I do not know whether a situation is justified or not, I cannot say whether somebody is wrong or right. I know it's several situations in which a person will defend themselves with a firearm. Whether that is the case or not, I do not know. So I can't make that. Unless you think all things are not justified, then at the end of the day, it's plenty of things where you would think. I know it's plenty of scenarios in which you think a situation is justified. You just happen to don't think this situation is justified because there's certain things that you don't like about the scenario. At the end of the
Oh
day,
man, it's a lot. It's a lot of this whole even man. Florida as a whole, man.
mm.
Florida as a whole, like
The people in Florida vote the things they want in. Everybody's not
like
like you. You got a
yeah,
right to stay in the state that you like to go the way you want to go. But the people in Florida like their state to behave the way their state is behaved. And they have a right to do that. If they did not like it, they will vote in officials to change the law. They have not. They vote for officials that like their Second Amendment. And that's the way. If you don't like it, you have the wherewithal to leave. If I don't like the such a situation that my state is holding, I will pack it up and I will leave and go to another state. At the end of the day, that's just not the way it works. Because all of us don't have the same beliefs. You want the whole country to run how Hemp wants the country to run.
Nah, that's not
But
what I'm
you
saying.
don't run the country.
That ain't what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, man, I had to watch. I had to watch this whole trial. This child that was murdered on trial, that Trayvon Martin thing, and I watched this fat grown man talking about this child that he had to kill because he was standing his ground. Like this, it is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And Kevin said, okay. Kevin said, okay. She hit that lady child. She hit that lady child, and that lady was mad. And this all could be true. This all could be true, Kevin. Well, then let's charge her with that. Can we charge her for throwing a skate? Can we just do something? Can we do something? Ain't enough evidence for that either.
Hmm.
There's
I'm
enough
not
evidence.
saying there's not enough evidence. You taking it like I'm saying this lady is innocent. I don't know where you getting that from. I'm saying I do not know. And I keep saying that, but you keep presenting it as though I'm saying this lady is innocent. And sometimes I gotta go get off this joint and rewind it back and look at it. Where did he get this situation in which I said this lady is innocent? I'm saying we don't know. But you're sitting back saying it's already set in stone that it's a level of guilt. When I'm like, I don't know what evidence you have. Everything you put forth is not a law that has been broken. It's just your lens on the situation. I'm saying the laws don't go by what Hamp think. The laws go by what we put together as a nation. And like it or not, the state of Florida want their state to run the opposite of what Hamp think is right. You might think things are right, but there's several individuals that disagree with you. If you don't like it, that's just the way the cookie crumbles, man. That's life. Things don't go the way that you might want them to go.
Again, I said I want to get away from the legality of it. I'm
It's
talking
no
about.
way to.
I'm talking
It's
about
no
your.
way
I'm
to.
talking about in your that little voice, that moral compass, like that. And I'm listening to Juan said Trayvon beat that man to a pulp. Trayvon was what did it say? What 118 pounds? 118 pounds. If you get beat to a pulp, Corey, by somebody that's 118 pounds, I'm gonna tell you right now, don't you shoot that boy. You get up, you dust yourself up, you go to your local gym and start doing some push-ups, start lifting some weights, start doing something about it. But don't you shoot that boy.
That's what Hamp would do.
118, 118
That's what
pounds.
Hamp would do. That's what Hamp would do. Again, everybody's not you, and I know several individuals. If you put your hands on them individuals and they got that gun on them, you dead. It might not be right. You might disagree with it, but that is that person's beliefs, and you're forcing your beliefs on the world. At the end of the day, I'm comfortable with saying I wouldn't shoot nobody. And this is what it goes to people saying that Christians believe in forcing that jump. I'm comfortable with saying it is wrong. I think it's wrong to shoot another individual. You should value life a lot more than that. But I'm comfortable understanding everybody does not have my beliefs, and nor do I want to force my beliefs on everybody. I think people should just, what I'm saying, do what the law says.
Just follow
Do what the
just
law.
follow
Follow
the
the
law.
law. Follow the
Follow
law.
the law. Do what the law
Yeah.
says.
Do what the
That's
law.
all right.
Follow the law.
You know what, man? And whether you want to see it or not, I'm gonna tell you, I truly believe this. I believe that inclusion in some of these things is the only way we can get them to change. I really believe that because I'm gonna tell you, man. If these stand your ground situations where a bunch of guys that look like you with tattoos and it was some little baby, some little non-brown baby, I guarantee you they wouldn't allot you that same level of scrutiny that you're giving. I guarantee you wouldn't be like it wouldn't be that like and so and I guess there's no way of knowing. There's no way
I
of
don't know
knowing.
if you presented it the other way. I don't even think we'll hear about it. If an individual was black and a white person go out there, that's not what the people want. At the end of the day, I think the news media and people want to drive home in there. They want to make race a very, very big thing. And at the end of the day, race will always be a big thing because the higher ups want it to be that way. They want you to see that lens. They want you to hate each other over race. But at the end of the day, if you
No,
present the case, I'm
hold
just
on.
hold on. I'm gonna finish the statement. It's about 5 seconds. I'll be done. If it was flipped, I could tell you one thing. My opinion wouldn't change. If it was a white individual in this, I would tell you the exact same thing. I would defend that person. At the end of the day, I would say we don't know. I don't think the lady that shot is wrong. I don't think the lady that has been shot is wrong. At the end of the day, I want to know more evidence to find out. Regardless of what the police say or anybody else say, my statement will remain the same. I'm not unchanging because I told you, regardless whether black people want to be racist or white people want to be racist, I have to look at the individual. I have to look at the situation and remain to be seen. I don't choose sides like that, bro.
Yeah.
That's not me.
So I
We
believe,
spoke several times. I don't choose sides like that.
yeah, I believe this, right? This isn't about, to me, my passion in this situation isn't just because um, it's just another person's shot. You know, my passion is, I think the only way that we can, as a people, human beings, get to the point of true equality and not seeing race is by
Mm.
having equal results to equal issues. I
You
think
think
that
it should
once
be equal outcomes?
yeah, and so once we get to a point where there's equal outcomes,
You think
I
it's
think
possible for that? You think that's a possibility?
yeah, I think so. I absolutely think so. Because again, the reason why, the reason why people aren't talking about that man that shot that boy in the head. Only reason I'm knowing about it because I follow him on Twitter. I've been following the GoFundMe page and everything. Like I've been, the young man's doing extremely well right now. I follow it on Twitter. Only reason I know about it is because I follow it. But the reason why it's not a big thing is because those authorities did what was necessary. They arrested the man because a boy was shot in the head that didn't have a weapon through a door, and they realized that some wrong has occurred, and will let a group of his peers decide the legality of it. That's what they did. That is the right thing to do. That is what is fair. And so in
Mm.
the situation, if that gentleman was to, um, if they found that there was no wrongdoing, at least, because see, justice isn't about punishment. Justice is about taking it to trial, like saying that you matter enough that we're going to look into this thing to see if you are wrong. That is true justice. I'm not talking about punishment. Justice is saying we're going to look into this thing. And I think in this situation, that's all I think that people are asking for. Charge the woman, let it go to trial. We'll see the details in it. If she did nothing wrong, she gets to go home. The other
Mm.
woman don't get to go home. But still, if she did nothing wrong, she get to go home. What
Mm.
a little inconvenience that is for her, as opposed to the other one that will never go home.
So regardless of evidence, just lock them up, put them in
Now,
jail,
now I'm saying that when a person is shot in this situation,
charge
when
them.
a person is shot through a door and is unarmed, anytime an unarmed person, and I'm not even gonna be from this door thing, anytime an unarmed person is shot, we gotta really think about. We really gotta really think about that.
I think we on the opposite end of that. I don't know. I think laws should be put in place to the way that the people vote them together. But I agree with Jeremy here. Laws are governed by man. We can't argue morals because they are subjective. Everybody changes on their morals. What changed? Come up with a standard operating procedure for self-defense with the firearm and put it into law. As simple as that. At the end of the day, I think they have. Florida got a code, and those codes, regardless whether you like them or not, we could look up those laws, we could look at those standards and see if they were broke. It's in black and white. We can all look them up. You might not like them, but that's their code. I'm just saying that's what the people of Florida have saw fit to put it in. If enough things have been wrong, then they would change the law. But my moral standards is my moral standards. I could tell you my moral standards is much more stringent and probably harder. I'm pretty sure you don't want to put mine in because number one, let's say my moral standards. I don't believe in abortion. Do you want to operate on my moral standards? No, somebody in this chat would disagree with that today. So we have to place in law the things that we see you know what I'm saying, as a country that we should run by. At the end of the day, you want to place everything on mine or yours. Everybody has different morals. But no, I mean, I'm not even saying shooting a person through the door is right. It's just simply at the end of the day, I don't know whether it's right because I don't know the information yet.
Okay.
And I know you keep saying that you saying these people don't need this info. I'm saying I do. And I don't care about nobody else. I don't speak for nobody else. When I stand on this podcast, I speak for Core. Why do you need a gun? I'm not answering necessarily I do need a gun, but I don't know whether I do need one or when I might need one. I could say I do have one, and I pray I never need to use it. I pray I never have to ever fire that gun ever in my life. I do not want to take a life ever in history, but I do not know when things might happen. Things might happen. I don't think anybody, most people, it's the assumption of thinking people with guns want to go out here to kill people.
Not such thing, man.
I'm not saying there's a such thing as people. Did I say that? Did I say that? Take what I said and argue that. Don't take a premise because then you make it sound like I made that statement as though people not out here to kill. Did I say that it's not a certain individual? I'm saying everybody. Do you own a firearm?
Maybe.
Are you out to kill people?
No.
Exactly.
No.
I know a lot of them.
Let's go back to. I like Tawana's statement here.
You have them to kill. All right, man. Yeah. So anybody that got a gun is out there. I could shoot a person in the leg. I can wound. I could definitely wound, right? I could say I'll never kill nobody. I'll always shoot them in the toe. You don't know.
Okay, let's go here. With Tawana's statement, if there was equality under the law, the courts in the inner cities would be too busy because nobody cares about the blacks killing each other. How you feel about that statement, Corey?
I don't think I think what she's saying is nobody will hear about it. I think black and black crime is a high number. You really don't hear it at all. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think, like I say, you will hear about this all days of the week. You will hear about these kind of shooters all the time. And you will hear about it throughout our community all the time. It's just not what pushes it. It doesn't sell. Put it that way. Black people killing black people does not sell.
I'm gonna go ahead and say this. I don't think, honestly, Tawana, I'm gonna tell you.
I can say right now for this podcast,
the thought process that black people have the propensity for violence more than anybody else is just silly. Like
I think she said that. What did she say?
No, I'm just saying, like, you talking about in the
hold on, I got to defend her. What did she say that?
No, what she's saying is, she said that if there were equality under the law, the courts in the inner cities would be too busy.
Man, I got to go on YouTube. Come on, remind. This goes back to the same thing what I said of making an assertion. She did not say that blacks have the propensity towards violence. That's your exact words. I can rewind it, go on YouTube, rewind it. I'm saying nothing in her comment has said black people have the propensity towards violence. Why would you say that?
Okay, what is the implication that in the inner city?
It don't matter. That's not what she said.
But what is the implication? Like,
you can say
we're not gonna
that.
be this obtuse. Corey, why are we being obtuse today?
That's
like, why are we just gonna sit here and be obtuse?
Did you mean that, Tawana? Did you mean that in any of your statements that black have the propensity towards violence? Did you make that statement? Do you believe that?
Like, okay, you know what? I don't know who lives in the inner city. Maybe it's puppies. The puppies that live in the inner cities that nobody cares about, but it did say black people at the bottom of it. But if you want to be obtuse, Corey, we can go ahead and be as obtuse as you want to. The fact of the matter is, human beings as a whole are violent. We're just a violent creature. Like, it has nothing to do with black. It has nothing to do with white. None of that. Like violence and crime. They're proximity issues.
Do you believe people have certain different behaviors? It's groups of people that have different levels of belief. I'm just going to this. Do you think people behave differently in different cultures, right? Cultures behave differently. Do you believe that? Or you think everybody behaves the same?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Straight up, do you think black people are different from white people?
Nah.
You don't think we have different beliefs? We're the exact same way. Well, then you'll be right. If you believe all people are the same and behave the same, then you're right. Outcomes should be the same. I think certain people behave differently. At the end of the day, my belief is, I think
It has
certain
nothing to do.
cultures,
It has nothing to
certain
do with
people
race.
believe it. That's not what I'm saying. I didn't say that at all. I didn't. You hear my statements and you're finishing it with something that I do not believe and thinking that I believe that and know you're wrong. So I mean, you can just carry on. I end my statement with you're right. That's if that's what you think I believe, then you can say I believe that. But no.
Because Corey, I'm gonna tell you like this. This is what I think. I think that when I live in my neighborhood, I don't think that people here behave a certain type of way because that's the color of their skin. Behave they behave the way they live, and they live a suburban life. They behave suburbanly, like so. I think that if you put people in poverty, I think that's the reason why they call
I'd
them poor
agree. I would
whites.
agree with that. I would
I
agree
think
with
it's
that.
so. I think it's socioeconomic. It has nothing to
Yes,
do.
I
It
would
has
agree with
nothing
that.
to do with the color of
I would
somebody's
agree.
skin.
Yeah, I never said it had something to do with the color. I'm saying the complete same thing you saying. I'm saying it has nothing to do with race of nothing. I'm saying people behave differently in different cultures. You would have to agree with that. I'm not saying because a person is black, they have the propensity for violence. I would defute that in any scenario. Because at the end of the day, you have black people across the world that behave differently. I'm saying cultures behave different. People are brought up the way to believe different things. People do different things. I can say right now, if I had to say it was a typical way of cooking a steak, right now, black people typically like their steak cooking a certain way. White people typically like their steak cooked a certain way. It has nothing to do with right or wrong or anything. It's just people grow up differently and do things differently. Would you agree with that?
Man, those stereotypes are just funny, Corey.
Oh my
it's not
God.
real. That's like me. Like if I was to get up here and say, all white people put raisins in a potato salad. Like that's
That's
not
not.
true. Like it's just not true, Corey.
Did I say
It's
all?
funny, but it's not
Did I say
true.
all black people like their steak well done?
You said the
And
majority.
this is, I think, is the biggest thing that bothers me is that when I say a statement, what you hear is a foolish statement that it sounds stupid. It sounds stupid for me to stand up here and say all black people like their steak well done, especially me being a black person that eats his steak medium well. And I know several black people that like their steak medium well. That is not what I said, nor do I believe that, but somehow you put it out there as though I do. And it's just upsetting. It is upsetting when a person makes statements that you have not said, nor ever will say or believe, as though I believe that. So I mean, you can carry on the next point, man.
Nah,
I,
I mean, if that's, I mean, you saying like a certain group of people like
yeah,
they think a certain way. That's what you said. That's what I thought I heard.
that's not what I said. What
Oh,
I
what did you say?
said,
I misheard
if
you.
you have two individuals that like a steak, I would say majority of black people, most of black people would like their steak medium, I mean, on well done. Majority of black people would like their steaks well done. Whether you agree with that or not, I would say more majority of white people like their steaks medium rare or rare meat, or more on the rare side than black people. Black people don't like blood on their junk. Neither one of them's right or wrong. But at the end of the day, what I was getting at is the outcome. Is the outcome. Okay, if I serve, let's say if I had a restaurant and I serve majority of my food medium rare, what would be the majority of people that showed up to my restaurant if my first statement which was true?
If your first statement was true, it would be the people who like the steak the way that they're serving the steak.
All right.
If your
So
first statement was true.
if my first statement, and this is why I'm saying we only going to what's now. I'm not saying these are truth, but when you get to the core of my argument, you would agree that you cannot have equal outcome in that scenario, right? Because if I sat there and made my steaks medium rare, that's the way I cook mine, and if a certain people like it a certain way more, then that's what I say the problem, what I was getting at with equal outcome. People behave differently, they have different likes and dislikes. So you're not going to have equal outcome because people like things differently. People do things differently. People grow up differently. So you'll never have equal outcomes. I can tell you right now, right? I went to a softball game, right? And I went to a softball ball in Alvo. And it's weird to me because I go to the softball game and I'm like, and the first time going, and I see all the black people is on one side, all the white people on the another side. And I always wonder, like, you know what I'm saying? Is it I think just people tend to group together what they feel most comfortable to being around. Not because they see that individual, but they know that this person has the more experiences just like me. They do the same thing, they might talk just like me. It's comfortable. So they group together. But when you group together and you start behaving different, you start liking what everybody in your group likes. People hang around that, and that's just the way that things play out. I don't think it has nothing to do with race. I don't think, and it's just like people that say black people cook better than white people. I think that's foolish to say. I think overall, I think Southern food is better than Northern food because they like to see they put more spice in their food. But I think it's people up north that like their food the way they like their food. It's not a good or bad thing. It's just people are different. And the thing otherwise is just it's just different. I don't know, man. I think people in Virginia are different than people in New York. That's why you have different set of laws for Virginia than New York or California. We don't do the same things. We don't like the same things. We just not the same.
Kevin says Top Golf in Jacksonville only cooks their burgers medium. Do you know what type of people go to Top Golf? People who like to have good family fun.
Yeah, you can make that assertion.
I definitely agree.
I think what I'm saying is getting overlooked, but all I'm saying is I'm making a point of saying at the end of the thing, I think behavior, personalities, groups, and things are more of a situation that plays out in things than race. I don't think at the end of the day, I think some people behave differently, some people raise differently, and I think that plays more of a part than race in anything. I think that plays more of a part to more outcomes. People do things differently.
Hmm. I got a question for you.
Yeah,
Just a random question.
sure.
If we're gonna watch a movie tonight, right? Let's just say we chose a random movie. Let's say Viking Werewolf. In the movie, who's gonna be the one of the first ones to get killed?
I don't believe that in movies,
I'm
bro.
asking you a question. Just answer the question. Why you gotta be so obtuse? I'm asking the question. Who's gonna get killed
When you say that statement, I know what you want to hear. It's just hard.
early? See, there you go. See,
Black
that's what I'm
people,
saying. Listen. Okay.
black people.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay. All right. So if you and I have different upbringings, so we have
I
different
know the stigma
experiences.
though.
We have. Oh, okay.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
does
but
that?
I know the stigma. So it's when you say it, sounds like it goes together. Because most people say black people die. I used to see so many comedy specials when they say that and stuff like that. And it's sometimes I think early on it was kind of true. Black people was the first person down the movie.
Okay. All right. So, anywho, I braid it up just to make this point, right?
Mhm.
When we talked earlier about equal outcomes, and I think the only way that we get to a point where everything is the way it should be. Because I'm telling you, I don't, I just, I really, I think it's really silly. I think they're gonna laugh at us. They're gonna look back in time and they're gonna laugh at us and be like, "Are you really saying that they treated each other different because one skin was a little darker than the other one?" It sounds so foolish. Like, not even animals behave that way. Like a brown puppy doesn't be like, "I'm not gonna play with that white puppy." Like we're the only people that do that. We're the only beings that do that. When I say equal outcomes, like when it gets to okay, the movies, when we get to the music, like
Mhm.
if I ask you like, okay, what music is going to talk about uh objectifying women or shooting somebody or doing it like you could try to be funny and say country, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like you could, but we all know what it is. Like
Yeah,
media, entertainment, like the judicial systems, the policing systems.
I
The
don't think
only
it's
way,
always been that way though. I think the different situations form that thing. I
man,
think it probably is that way, but I don't think that blame. Let's say if I were to say I do not like hip hop and rap music. But it's certain situation where I think that comes to be, and I think that is a. I don't think that has to do. At the end of the day, I don't think black people in Africa would listen to that. They don't believe those certain things. It's just somewhere along the land you allow people just.
And so and I agree with you on that. And I'm saying is how we the only way that we can get to rise above that is for all of us to sit here and try our best to get equal outcomes for equal situations.
I don't think it's
Like
no. I do
I
not
think that's
think
what
it's
I'm saying.
possible for equal
But
outcomes
we
in
can try.
situations.
But we can
I
try.
don't.
We can
Trying
try.
is you can try as you want.
We
I
can
don't
try.
think it can. What I'm saying is it's just as easy as like can you try? You can try to make 1 + 3 equal 3. When I'm saying it's impossible to get equal outcome, but people have different desires, different wants, different needs. And I'm pretty sure you already said you listen to Jordan Peterson. I mean, Jordan Peterson preaches this faithfully. If you know Jordan Peterson and said several times equal outcome is impossible because the more egalitarian a society becomes, the more they remove stigmas, the more people freely choose, those numbers begin to be greater. The divide becomes greater. It does not get closer to 50-50. The numbers become greater. At the end of the day, when you allow people to have free choice, the freedom to choose what they want, they will decide differently. At the end of the day, they're going to choose what they want to choose. You'll have a greater chance of trying to change behavior issues other than trying to get situation to be even. It's never been
Okay.
that way. At the end of the day, let's say single parent households. It was a time with single parent households. We had two parent households at a majority. About 70% of our families grew up in two parent households. Before the 60s, in 1960, that number was greater. But now that number has dwindled. At the end of the day, you could say that's unfair back then or fair now. I don't know. I think things just change over time.
Okay. I'm gonna say this, Corey. I'm gonna keep it as simple as this.
Hmm.
If shooting an unarmed person through the door
Hmm.
is something that is speculative, then we need to free any person who's done the same thing. Because that's how you get the equal outcomes. But the thought of that, the thought of that is ridiculous and scary. The same thing I'm gonna say when it comes to these ridiculous sentences to certain things. It needs to be the same, and it almost
Hmm.
needs to be a bureau that even checks equal outcomes on certain things. Like I guess we would call it internal investigations. Matter of fact, they got one of those. Like when it comes to these like internal investigations, need to look at things because I'm gonna tell you what ends up happening is like when the thought if that woman had a real fear, this is what I'm saying. This is the reason why it's important. If this woman had a real fear of the fact that she could possibly be spending her life in prison with a bunch of those women like her where she ain't got no gun, because that's where she need to go. She need to go to a place where she gonna be afraid all the time that she might get assaulted.
That's why I said about you already
No,
made
no,
the assertion that she is guilty. Now, I just want to
listen.
make the
Let me
point
finish my.
that I
I let you finish
said
yours. I
I
let you
don't
finish
know,
yours.
and he said she's guilty. That's the
Okay,
problem. He
that's
already
fine.
looks at
Hey,
her as guilty.
take me for what it is. I say the facts are undisputable, and what I'm saying is because in that place where she's going, there will be no gun to hide behind that door,
Mhm.
right? There is so it's safe to say that she is going to be capable of surviving without shooting people through doors because in
Mhm.
that place you can't do it, right? Because it's the exact same thing. So to say that on the outside she has to live that way, it to be doesn't make any sense. But I'm gonna tell you this: when people start to realize that equal outcomes for equal stuff, like oh, if I pull this trigger, I may possibly find myself in a place where I don't have to worry about her beating on me, but I got to worry about the next 6 foot woman beating on her. I guarantee she gonna find other ways to handle that situation other than shooting through the door. I guarantee you that. But the fear is, I'll shoot her.
So she guilty.
I hit her baby with a skate.
I'm just asking. She's guilty.
I hit her baby with a skate, and she knock on my door and shoot her in the chest.
Right now,
That's
she's
crazy.
guilty to you of murder. She should be locked up and
I ain't
thrown
say
away to
murder.
keep.
I ain't say murder.
What she's guilty of?
She's guilty of shooting a woman through a door. Now,
That is second degree murder. Number one. If she's wrongfully, if they're gonna call us second degree
call
murder.
it manslaughter, whatever you want to call it. In
It's
that
not
state,
manslaughter.
whatever it is.
Manslaughter is
Whatever the state.
mistakenly. But it would be a second degree murder. That's what you're saying. She already guilty. You don't need nothing else to tell you about it.
Nothing else for
You're
her to be
good.
charged.
You're
I'm
good with it.
Charger.
Charge. That's
Charge.
not what you're saying. I'm saying you're taking it as though she's already guilty.
I said it several times on the podcast. Charge her if she is worthy of bail. Give her bail, but she need to go to trial.
So I can't clip right now where you said she was already guilty. I can't clip that. I can't go back on YouTube, make a clip.
Yeah, you can also clip when I said she need to be charged. She needs to be charged and she needs to have a trial. Clip that.
Yeah, all right. But I can clip that you said that she was guilty.
Okay, clip that, man.
Yeah,
but
I don't know, man. I like I was saying, I don't view it as guilty or innocent or any situation. I'm saying simply we do not have enough evidence. Both sides got their arguments out there. And I would agree, I would agree with she need to be charged. I do think she need to be charged. My thing is the investigation has not been finished, and I think she will be charged. At the end of the day, I would say that. I think she will be charged and the investigation will happen. More information will come out and we'll find out whether that person is guilty or not. But moving on, my point to the equality of outcome, because this is the Jordan Peterson argument. And the argument is mainly based on women. So women and men, and it says the gender pay gap, right? When you talk about the gender pay gap and you talk about men get paid more than women. So you have a country of Scandinavia. Scandinavia has become the most egalitarian country. And that means that the country has removed all social pushes towards saying a girl's supposed to do this, a man's supposed to be this. They allow people to freely choose. At the end of the day, this study was shown by liberals that wanted to show that the general pay gap was true. They put forth a study to show that. But the more you allow people to freely choose what they wanted to do, those numbers increase. They did not get back straight towards 50-50. They even more and more divided. At the end of the day, let me take this for instance. Men like things more. Women like people more. Women find the company of people more, and men like the company of things more. They like to be around things more than people. And that's just a small thing. And most clinical psychologists will base this. These are social things that you can look on, unless you want to say psychologists' experiments that have been set in stone for years are false. Men tend to be more aggressive than women. Not majorly. Like I'm not even talking about a major number of this, but you can look at the studies, there are differences in men and women. So when you allow people to freely choose, the more you allow them to freely choose, those numbers get more and more spread. They do not come closer together. That's why I say equality of outcome is not possible. You can look at all the studies on that. It's impossible to have outcomes come 50-50 because people behave differently. It's no standard in which you're going to have outcomes be that. And that's all I'm saying. But fairly, do I hold on? I want to finish this statement. Do I want people to be treated fairly? Yes. I say we can measure that, whether people have been treated fairly, but equality of outcome, I do not think that's possible.
A quick question.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever thought about it, but I've thought about it several times. Well, first let's establish this. Do you think there is a pay gap when it comes to white males and white women?
White males and white women? Yes, I think a pay gap does exist. It's not, nobody's disputing the pay gap.
What happens? How does that happen?
Nobody's disputing the pay gap.
I'm asking, how does this happen?
This is the point that we're saying. Nobody disputes a pay gap. What we dispute is there is a univariable reason why that. What the people that speak about the pay gap, they say the only reason why the pay gap is there is discrimination for males against women. We're saying it's a lot of reasons that go into that. It's a lot of reasons that go into the reason why men
Just
get
give me
paid
one
more
of
than
them.
women.
Just
Men
tell me.
choose more dangerous jobs.
I'm talking about in corporate America. I
In
understand. I've
corporate
heard
America,
I've heard
men are
Jordan Peterson
more
talk about. I'm talking
men
about in regular corporate America.
men have more desire to give up their families and to sacrifice everything in life and towards achieving a goal more than women. I think
Okay.
that's stupid. I think family is more important. I think women are more responsible with that. But men would choose to run a Fortune 500 company and allow that to be his life more than a woman would decide to do that.
Hey, bro.
Women would choose that.
Hey, man. Listen, you solved that for me. I can go and put
You
that to
know?
bed. I can put that to bed now. Now I know why women make less than men. But then I got
I
another
didn't
question.
say that. I did not say that. I said it's a multivariable analysis as to the reason why that is. Now I
Yeah.
can say several variables that go into that. First one, men choose more dangerous jobs. You
I
wrote
said
that out. At the end of the day,
I'm
it's a
satisfied with the
lot
ones you
of
gave me.
situations.
I
It's a
know there's
lot of
even. I'm
things.
not saying that you
I'm
gave me
saying it's
all of
not
them.
prejudice is one. That is prejudice. I'm saying that's not the only point.
Yeah. Listen. I'm taking it. I know there's other variables. I'm satisfied with the ones you gave me. Now I'm gonna ask you another question.
Mhm.
Let's establish this. Do you think that white males make more than black males?
No, I'll have to see the study. No, I don't. I think males make more than females. Yeah.
I asked you, do you think that white males
No,
make more
no,
than black males?
no,
And your answer is no.
no,
I am going to rest my case. Ain't no way you believe that. Ain't no way you believe
no.
that.
I have no reason to believe why. Like at the end of the day, if I were you, and I thought it's a big group of racial people out here that's discriminating against people, I would believe that. I think racism does exist, but I do not believe it at the same level to you. I ain't told you this several times. You think racism is in every aspect. I'm pretty
No,
sure
I'm
it
not saying
is
that.
in everything. I can guarantee you, you present any argument with me, I can tell the side that you decide on is be the side that black man is being
I asked you a
the
simple
white man
question.
is keeping the foot on the neck on white man.
No, I'm
White
not
man is
saying that.
keeping the foot on the neck of black man. I know that's the window
I
it's
just
going to
asked
end.
you a question. You gave me
I
the
don't
answer I
believe it's the
needed.
biggest thing.
You told me you agree that women make less than men,
Yes.
but you don't agree
Number one,
that
I know the study shows that women make less than men. I haven't looked up
and
the study that
the studies don't
no,
show they don't
I
show that.
haven't I haven't even seen those studies. I would have to look it up, but I wouldn't say I think men make more than women. And there's a lot of scenarios going into that, but I think men are more common than men, regardless whether black or white. And that the divides that have to, I think black men choose dangerous jobs just like white men choose dangerous jobs, and they'll get paid. I'd be more. I would tell you this: if there was a divide, I would say that I would have to look at the reasons why, and I would think the reasons are more towards prejudice. I would think because the separations of behaviors are much different, and it's not as great as women and men. Now, if you want to say the structure of systems are more favorable towards men and women, I would agree. But I think men and most men, let's say this. Let me make this statement. Let's say the this is a number that is unfavorable towards men. Which group do you think dies in wars more? Men or women? Do you think men or women die in war more? Which group?
Say the men do.
Why do you think that is? Do you think that
Because
it's
up until
some
recent,
men has been wrong because of that?
no, because up until recently, women have not been they have not even been allowed to work combat
Mm,
jobs. Like that's a
yeah,
recent phenomenon.
yeah.
Like they used to have service support jobs.
Why do
So
you
when
think that is?
you said why, there's a few reasons. A few reasons why is because it's just in a man's nature to be more protective of women than they are the mission. Like so, a lot of times before that, that was a thought process that if you put men and women in combat situations, a man would be more likely to be protective of that woman than he is of that
Mhm.
situation. Now, I can tell you when it comes to men in combat, the way it works is we there to do a job. Like if it's 4 guys there, I know that I have to do my job so that man can do his job. Like I'm
Mhm.
not sitting here worried in my subconscious like is he handling his business like he's supposed to, because that's what we're trained to do, our specific job, and everything supports the whole. That's the way it works. Um, yeah,
That's a good point. That what's the name, Brady? Let's say this: the highest paid football players in the NFL are black, all black, right? If they were white, would you say it's because of racism?
it's been that way until recently. What you
That's
mean?
what I'm saying. But if it,
Like
when it
what you
was that way,
mean?
it couldn't possibly be. But why are the black people more paid more than the white people? Why do you say that is?
You said what?
Why are the black people paid more?
Because incorporation.
Why are the black people? Why are the highest paid players in the NFL black?
Okay, all right. So, all right, just so for our listeners here, it's not that the reason why the highest paid players are black. It's because the highest paid players are quarterbacks, and recently
It's a
the
lot of
I'm just
yeah.
telling you, like let's be clear about it. The reason why is because they're quarterbacks.
Mhm.
Quarterbacks make more than anybody that make the largest majority of the team salaries, and in this particular time, we had these black quarterbacks that are coming in. Now, up until recently, there weren't that many black quarterbacks. That's the reason why the salary was the way it is. It's not because of color; it's because of position.
You're
That's the
trying to
reason why.
guess. You're trying to guess what I'm getting at before I even got there. I'm asking you a simple question: are the highest paid players in the NFL right now black?
Quarterbacks,
Regardless,
yes,
all right.
they're quarter
Let's
blacks.
simple it. The highest paid quarterbacks are black, right?
Yeah, the quarter blacks
Why is that?
because they're quarter blacks. They're
Because
quarterbacks.
the highest paid quarterbacks are black because they're quarterbacks. Why are they paid more than the white quarterbacks?
You said why?
Why?
Well, the market resets itself. That we haven't had one come up. As soon as Josh Allen comes up there, he'll be up there. He'll be the
But
highest paid quarterback.
that might
The
be the
market
case.
reset. The
But
market
what?
resets
Why
itself,
right
brother.
now
Why
are the
act like you
black
don't know this
people?
game, man? You know this
Yeah,
game.
I'm just
Like
simply
you
asking
are,
why are the top highest paid players in the NFL right now black? I'm not
because it
saying
was
it's
their
because
turn.
it's their turn.
It was their
So
turn.
let's say
Justin
when the
Herbert, when
highest
Justin
players,
Herbert and Josh Allen come up, they will be the two highest paid quarterbacks. You know that to be true. Why are we acting like this, Corey?
that's not the statement. You're making an assertion that I'm not even getting at. You keep trying to finish the statement. I'm just simply asking a question. You're avoiding the question by trying to guess why I'm ending it, and that's not why I'm ending it. Not at all. I know. I'm not saying that the has paid players are the has paid players because they black, but they are black. I would say because they're more talented than the players that's less. Everybody would agree that Patrick Mahomes is the most talented player, so he should make the most. I would agree with doggone Lamar Jackson. All of these players are making the money they make, and they should be. But my point is this: when the white people were more played, you would never say it was because they were more talented. You would say because it's race. I'm saying, in the opportunities when a white person outdoes a black person in pay, you assert races, but you will never assert it in the other situation. That's all I'm stating. You will never know. You're comfortable with black people being the highest paid players. You wouldn't say, man, the white players are being done wrong.
Okay, I'm gonna say this last thing. I'm gonna say that this conversation you have the following summer, the following summer, these will be the three highest paid players in the NFL in no particular order: Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert.
I would agree.
That's what's gonna happen.
Justin Herbert. Nah, I don't think he's gonna make
They
more than
those three will be the highest three paid players in the NFL.
mm,
It's
we have to
it's true. It's true. And as we
probably.
progress, and then as Trevor Lawrence, yeah, I'm about to say, and then Trevor
Mm.
Lawrence will be up there, and then you know what we'll be saying
That's
in the
not a
top five. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a position thing.
I don't think you understood my argument. I'm not saying I agree with you. The reason why the pay is that way, but my point is, you would not say it's because of race. You would not say that. You would look at the multiple variables that go into it, and you just stated the multiple variables. So I'm. This is my whole point because you tried to guess my point. You missed my point. This is my point. Whenever you look at a unequal outcome, you have to look at the multiple variables. That's the only point. You just stated multiple variables into the reason why 5 black players are the highest played. You did not cite race as being the one. You looked at all the other ones as the reason. So when I'm saying when you look at an outcome, look at the multiple variables. Don't look at one variable. It could very well, that could be a variable. Maybe the owners like the black people. That could be a small variable, we could say. But what I'm saying is it's a multiple variables that go into it. It's that player got played before that player. All the things that you cited, you were looking at a multiple variables as to the reason why that was, not one variable. You stated multiple. So I'm saying in any situation, when you look at an outcome, look at the multiple variables, not one. And next time we bring this up and you say this, I'm gonna say, I'm believe what you believe in multiple variables.
I appreciate it, man. Let's wrap this bad boy up, Corey. What you got?
All right, like I said, hey, at the end of the day, man, I thank y'all for tuning in. I thank y'all for coming out. My internet wanted to mess up at a time like this. I hope everything came through clear, man. I hope y'all have fun. Be prepared for the next episode. If I can get back from church quickly, hopefully we can shoot tomorrow. I've been letting y'all down. We want to get this thing right, get this ball back moving. Thank y'all.
All right, man. And closing out this thing with this situation, I'm gonna tell my friends, man. If I knock on the door and I get shot through the door, I sure hope y'all don't be justified saying y'all looking for the right answers. Just know something bad happened if I got shot in the chest knocking on somebody's door. With that being said, I love y'all and love yours. We out.